Alrighty. Hi everyone, I am Harshil and today we have with us our esteemed guest Prasann Pandya. Prasann, welcome to the pod. This is our second episode and I am just getting started, but yep, glad to have you here.
Awesome. Yeah, glad to
Cool.
do this, man. Yeah.
So you right now are in Bali. How is Bali, man?
Bali is great. Yeah, I'm in Ubud, Bali. Just surrounded by rice fields. Yeah, life is good. No complaint.
Yeah, awesome. So just for context, everyone, I met Prasann in Dharamshala. He runs Koliya Planet, which is an amazing venture by him. They do these nomadic trips, and I met him in Dharamshala. We was there for 1 month and had some really amazing time. So
Yeah,
glad to have you. Uh, cool. Where do we get started? I mean, Dharamshala was a fun phase, but yep, if you could just intro yourself to the audience.
for sure, man. Yeah, so I'm Prasann. I've been doing startups for like since 2018. Uh, and then, had two failed startups. Never really raised funding. It was all through my personal funds. And then worked a little bit in the middle to just to recover from the failed startups and the debt. And I worked in San Francisco 2 years, 1.5 year as an AI engineer, and then for the last 2 years I've been building my own AI SaaS tool called MyReader from MyReader.ai. It's crossed more than 150K registered users. It's doing pretty well, at least for myself. I haven't raised money. I'm still like one person team. Um, and then now I'm doing Koliya Planet. I think I've been a nomad for the last 2 years, and I realized the importance of having a like-minded group of people around you, and also important for traveling. I'm like, let's make the two. So that's why I started this Koliya Planet, where we do co-livings around the globe with people like us, basically.
Awesome, man. You talked about having two failed startups, so I would actually deep dive first into that rather than success. I'll go
For
into it.
sure.
Yeah.
So two-phase startup. The first one, I won't really call it anything because we change ideas every month. We were three guys right
Oh,
out of university, all three engineers, and we were like, let's do a startup. uh, let's get to that $1 billion whatever. And yeah, we just kept changing ideas every month. It was like, I think one good thing we did there was we picked that AI was going to be big in the next 5 years. We're like, let's do something in AI. This was 2018, and we started with tech instead of the problem. That's where we failed, but still I think it was the
mhm.
right decision that helped me build my reader today and got me AI jobs and whatnot. But yeah, it was like 10 months thing. We kept switching ideas, but we built a lot of things, and I learned how to build during those 10 months. We even got interviewed at Y Combinator, and this was at the
Mm.
time when they flew people to California. So that
Oh,
was that was the highlight of the 10 months where we got interviewed at Y Combinator for some AI clinical trial idea.
whoa, wait.
And
You got
yeah,
into YC like a
no,
proper.
we just no, we just got interviewed. But they
Okay.
flew us there for the interview, 10 minutes interview.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So that was my first time in California, and that's where I'm like, okay, this is the place to be. Uh, so yeah, that was fun highlight of the trip, where, and that's when I realized what YC was and whatnot.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, that was the first failure. Yeah.
Yeah. I know you have with YC, there's a very good story attached, which is that you have a beef with Gary Tan.
No, I don't have a beef with Gary Tan. I mean, if you look at my tweets, I mean, I respect Gary Tan. He's a builder. I mean, I watch his YouTube videos. I love it. He's like builders changing the world, and you should be, building good things. And yeah, I love Gary Tan. I just have the problem with the YC selection criteria that they, seem to like it's obvious selection criteria where they look for brand names, right? Like X Google, X Meta, X Stripe, MIT, Stanford, whatever. Everybody knows about it. Nobody likes to say it out loud, so I just say it out loud. And yeah, somehow Gary Ten replied to that tweet, and then it got viral. But yeah, nothing against
Hmm.
anyone. It's just I have it against the selection criteria of YC, and because YC is such a big deal, everyone else follows them,
Hmm.
and that has created this bubble in San Francisco where probably like 80 to 90% of people are like people with brand names in San
Hmm.
Francisco. So the people who are real builders don't really get a shot. Like no, people don't look that much at your building ability, but they look more for your brand name, which is something I have a problem with. So that's why I think a lot about it. And since YC is a big deal, they're the ones spreading that way of thinking.
Hmm.
Uh, so I mean, it's an easy target.
Wow. So do you think this process has from YC trickled down into all other similar investment funds
Exactly,
as well?
exactly. Because there's nothing like YC for early stage founders, right? Like there's a lot of these
Hmm.
small little accelerators, but they accept like 10 teams, 10 teams. YC accepts more than 100 teams every 4 months, right?
Hmm.
And they give them 500K, right? Like pre-seed.
Hmm.
There's nothing like that anywhere. So as an early stage founder, YC is your best bet. And because of that, because they do it at such a big scale, the entire San Francisco is filled with YC founders.
Hmm.
And because of that, now VCs do the same thing. And because of that network, they help each other out. They buy each other's products, right?
Yeah.
So the network has been growing,
Hmm.
and then yeah, it just trickles down into everyone else who's doing the same thing. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah,
Nice. So after that, the first startup which you got interviewed for,
yeah,
uh, after that you did second one. Did you
yeah.
build
So
your
I
own
worked for
products?
yeah, I worked for 1 year and then quit again. And I during
What
COVID, I
made you
just
quit?
uh, it was actually I didn't have an idea at that point. I was just not happy with my current job, and I wasn't feel I felt like I wasn't growing enough. Yeah, so you know some disagreements, with my manager, and just felt like I wasn't growing enough. So I'm like, it doesn't make sense for me to continue, right? So it's better that I leave. And yeah, then I left. I didn't have any plans, and then COVID happened, right? And then everything
Hmm.
shut down, and I was at home. I wanted to practice yoga, so I started going to a lot of group yoga classes, and I wanted to
Hmm.
practice yoga at home in that group setting, but there was no easy way. And I saw a lot of these yoga instructors teaching online on Zoom, accepting payments through weird means,
PayPal.
right? Like PayPal, stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, what if I just streamline this? And I wanted to see if I
Hmm.
can build something on my own because my previous startup, we were three guys, doing different things. I'm like, I just want to build the whole thing on my own. I'm like, so yeah, I spent a month and I built the online yoga platform.
Hmm.
And initially, I focused it on the instructors. So if you're an instructor teaching online, I had video conferencing, payment scheduling, everything in one place.
Hmm.
So I built my own browser-based video conferencing, stuff like
Oh.
that. Yeah, yeah. So it was a fun project. I had users right away. Uh, yeah, I dabbled a lot with Facebook ads, and then yeah, I made a lot of rookie mistakes in terms of pricing and whatnot. Uh,
Hmm.
but yeah, so did that for like about a year, and then also had a co-founder. Brought in a co-founder like 3 4 months later. Who was a yoga instructor. Uh, yeah, good experience, but yeah, made some revenue, no profit. Uh, yeah, so yeah,
So
lost
you
money
were break
again.
even or you were break
No,
even or
not break
burn
even.
some?
Nay, nay. I burned $40,000 of my own
Oh,
savings. Yeah, yeah,
damn. That's a
yeah.
lot.
So the idea of VC funding never my thought, and that's probably why I've never been able to raise. is because I just don't give it importance. I probably should in certain scenarios, but like I'm just like I have this much money, I can build. Let's just
Mm,
put it all in, and right.
interesting. So
So
you self-funded yourself in your
yeah,
startup.
self-funded. Still to this
That's a
day, I
nice way
keep
to.
doing it. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
So that happened, and boom, then you landed onto my readers. How did your idea strike to you?
So we actually tried something similar in 2018
Hmm.
with my two other co-founders. Uh,
Hmm.
like this, I had the idea from back then. Basically, I got the idea and we're like, let's try this. But then, my reader is like a very general idea, right? It's
Hmm.
so we tried it, and then we try to follow the startup wisdom, be like find a niche, B2B. We talked to a bunch of lawyers and consultants and whatnot, and medical researchers, and then the idea kind of got lost. Also, the tech wasn't ready in 2018, so you know we didn't pursue it. But then it kept in my head,
Yeah.
and every time I visited a bookstore, I'm like, fuck, I need something like MyReader.
Hmm.
And I love reading books, and I love going to
Hmm.
bookstores. I'm like, shit, there's so much knowledge out there, very hard to access. They're always stuck in my head. And I actually started working on it in 2022, sort of, but never really launched. And then when I was in San Francisco and when ChatGPT launched, I was in San Francisco after that, like in January, right? January 2023. I saw like, okay, everything I wanted to do with this idea is possible now. Timing is
Nice.
right, right?
Yep.
So I'm like, so I quit my job again. Again, no funding, nothing. I was just like, whatever. Uh, it's a common theme. And I just like it's now or never, and that's why I spent a month building it, and yeah, it was yeah, launched it, and yeah, rest is history.
And I think as you had a hockey cow moment, which was the product hunt thing, right?
Yeah. So I think one thing I've realized with ideas now is if things are being too resistant from the beginning, I mean, of course, you can force things to your advantage, but like certain ideas, like if it's a right idea, and again, this is probably not the best advice, but it's like I notice it should kind of feel easy from the beginning. I mean, I won't say my reader was easy, but it just I posted a couple different places when I launched. And
Mm.
Twitter, I had like 200 followers at that point, and when I talked about my
Oh.
reader, I got 10,000 views. Right, I posted a video, and I randomly replied to someone on Quora. I never use Quora, and that one reply was
Mm.
like giving me 20 signups a day from like day one.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So it
So you had a
always
lot
felt a
of
little
followers.
easy. Yeah. So it was
Mm.
slow growth, very slow growth. I wasn't making a lot of money for a long time, but
Mm.
it, it always felt easy. And then product hunt was the big moment where it just kicked off, where I got number 10 product of the day, and then I got
Mm.
2,000 users in 2 weeks.
Oh,
And then it started giving me good SEO, right? Because a lot of blogs picked it up. So after that, it's been pretty nice to just, yeah, like I've had good SEO, and it's been pretty
nice.
good.
Yep.
Awesome, huh?
Awesome. Oh, cool. So, I mean, the product hunt thing happened and you got ranked in,
Yeah, rank
right?
10.
And you were there for a while, or was it like a 1 week thing?
No, it was just number 10 product of the day. That's it. I didn't get like a
Oh, it was for
weekly.
a day.
Yeah.
Okay. And from that, how much traction did you get?
I got 2,000 users in 2 weeks.
Amazing. So that I am assuming that led to a lot of. Uh,
Sorry. So yeah, sorry. Yeah. So I got 2,000 users in 2 weeks from product 10. And it started this reaction of like, a lot of blogs and newsletters picked it up. So I got a lot of people coming from different AI newsletters. And then,
Hmm.
of course, referrals and whatnot. And then suddenly I had good SEO. So everyone who was searching for a platform like this, they were finding my reader. So yeah, after that,
Hmm.
man, it's yeah, knock on wood, like I haven't had to do any paid marketing.
That's a very good thing to have because the people have to spend a lot of money just getting a lot of things. Like I honestly have been getting reached out by brands to like put out stuff for them at like a sponsored tweet or something. I
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
touched that domain until now. I'm trying to put like keep my originality there. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean organically getting all those backlinks or whatever the word term is, that's a very good thing because then
Yeah.
your product took off. So your product took off, this was around
July 2023. So yeah.
July 2023. And after that, it has been floating and growing, right?
Yeah, yeah. I keep getting signups every day. Um, it's been growing. I've been a little
Yeah.
lazy, like in terms of updating the product and like making a push. But
Mm-hmm.
like it's running on autopilot. I'm making enough money for myself.
Hmm.
So yeah, so it's been nice. I think there was a point it was growing 20% month over month till like for 1 year actually.
Damn.
And then it kind of stagnated and then it grew a little bit again and now it's like kind of stagnated again. Uh, but yeah, I'm trying to do another push now to like, you know, get to next level.
Interesting. So, like, I'm always curious. Like, I want to build my own product, and something like I really get fascinated about like when people say that my product is on autopilot, and I'm never able to like understand because if I'm building a product, I'll be like, oh shit, my this user wants this user wants that. So, like, what would you what's the sweet spot between key? Like obsessing over releasing new feature every user wants versus like how do you take that call that for example I wake up I see 10 requests from users and I might be thinking ki, okay this might be good for my product this might not be, so how do you take that call
Yeah, yeah.
that good
Um,
feature to launch or not?
yeah, yeah. I think number one is I think you need I think the thing is I've had so much experience building features out of features in my previous products. So then
Hmm.
and then people not using it or the number of users not growing.
Hmm.
So I realized it's like most of what people
Okay.
say they want, they don't actually, like really need it. They just like want this
Hmm.
bells and whistles.
Good
So
to
can
have.
you improve this? Yeah, good to have. So I think you really have to
Hmm.
figure out what is the core thing that people want and
Hmm.
what is gonna like what can they live with? What kind of problems can they live with?
Hmm.
Right. So with my reader, my
Hmm.
core thing was I need really good chat experience. I need really good like upload of the books, right? It needs to work. I need to add ability to add
Hmm.
articles, YouTube videos, whatever. And then once
Hmm.
I had that, and it was like, you know, uh, people were coming and paying for it. I'm like, you know, let's just, yeah. And, and, and and then you also need to be okay and mentally you're like, you know what, it's okay. If I lose some users, it's okay. So it's a, you just look at the revenue curve and I'm like, are you happy with the revenue? Okay, then just stick to the revenue.
Because yeah. Because I have this weird thing that if I'm like building a product, then I'll be spending almost an hour getting that perfect bento grid or getting that perfect gradient. So I that healthy pullback from knowing key what is crucial is I think very important. Plus you are building it solo. You
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think building it solo, I really have to make sure everything I launch is very stable. So, like
Hmm.
all the book upload stuff,
Hmm.
it took a while to get it to be stable where there's not a lot of errors while uploading books. And then I get like backups after backups. So
Hmm.
if something fails, I have like a backup server running or something like that where I'm like, if this fails, go to this backup server, stuff like that. So I have like a whole monitoring system. And then if something fails, I still like have another cron job running every like to fix the things. Uh,
Uh,
so yeah,
so you have
I just
everything covered, like inside of people.
yes, and I get an email every morning saying
Interesting.
the status
And
update of what happened
what do you think
yesterday.
this? Because I'm assuming.
Sorry, what
Sorry,
do you think about what? Sorry,
I'm just
sorry. I
saying I
think your
am
question
assuming
got
around
cut.
2020. So yeah, I was just thinking that around 2022, stuff like cursor and stuff was
Huh.
not there. You had to do the proper manual way, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I had to do manual way, and I'm not even a web dev, so I just use Flask and JavaScript, vanilla JavaScript. So I don't even know React.
Also, you
To
build it
this,
in raw JS.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's raw vanilla JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and then Flask. I use Flask backend. So,
Okay. So you have
so yeah.
migrated to React or not?
Right now, no. My reader, no,
Oh,
because
damn.
once you build it, I kind of had to rebuild from scratch if I want to migrate
Ah.
to Next.js, which
Mm-hmm.
is a consideration. But at this point, AI is so good that the scalability issues are not there anymore, right? With the whatever
Mm-hmm.
framework you use, you can just build anything with anything basically. So yeah, my reader I won't change. Any new products I build, I'll use Next.js. But yeah, that's yeah,
And do you how because I think with cursor coming in and all these things, there's a upsurge of builders, especially those who are just vibe coding. So what do you think your next product will be vibe coded?
yeah. I don't code anymore that much. It's all cursor,
It's
honestly. So next product definitely I've coded. Uh, I don't even know React, right? I don't know Next.js very well, so I just vibe coded basically. Uh, yeah, it helps to know, programming, but like so you can make changes and when it goes wrong, you can fix it. But yeah, I think it's all gonna be vibe coded. You just have to really be careful on what you're building.
mm,
Keep it simple. Again, less features are actually better. You
mm,
focus on what the core use case is for your product and just focus on that. As even to this day, my reader, and again, I can add a lot of features, but I'm like, as a solo dev, can I maintain those features right very
mm,
well? Or should I just focus all my energy on these one or two things and everything else people live without? So I have to make sure everything I build I can also maintain. Otherwise, if things keep breaking, nobody's gonna pay for it, right?
mm,
So yeah, at least whatever's there at MyReader, it works and it works seamlessly. That's why people pay for it. So
mm.
yeah,
Interesting. I never thought of it that way, that okay, I'll have to maintain, so I need to also think of things like that way. That is
yeah. I
nice.
think because of my yoga platform experience, where I had a lot of those problems, that's what helped me build this in that way. Because I'm like, yeah, because initially you're not thinking about scalability, right? But then
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I would dealt with enough problems. So I'm like, let's just get it right. Yeah,
Initially, everyone is thinking I'll launch it, I'll hit that 1K MRR, I'll post that stripe photo on Twitter and build in
yeah,
public. Everyone is just
exactly.
thinking on.
Yeah,
Interesting.
exactly.
So, like, I was thinking, a lot of people I know debate about how, for example, your product is a GPT wrapper slash AI
Yeah.
wrapper, if right? And a lot of people, uh, I am, I people, a lot of people shit on that AI wrappers are just wrappers. I'm like, no. So any comments on those people who say this is just a GPT
I'll
wrapper?
tell you this. When I built my reader, initially it was a new thing, right? Like not that overdone when Like it was the right timing. So the
Hmm.
first week everyone was like, "Oh, this is interesting, cool, whatever." And then after that, the 6 months I was in SF. Everywhere I go, everywhere I talk about my reader, people would just kind of look down, be like, "Oh, I
Hmm.
can build this in a weekend. You should do something more useful with your time." I mean, it was good intention, people telling me that. I mean, mostly. And but I just kept building, and I'm doing better than probably 90% of those guys, right? Um,
Yeah.
so eh, I think the wrapper thing is actually the best thing to do as a developer.
Yes.
Eh, you shouldn't think of technical mode when building something. You should think of what problem you're solving, and if you
Hmm.
can solve that very well, and if you can solve that just by using a GPT wrapper, just doing a GPT wrapper, great, man. Like, why reinvent the wheel to solve a problem?
Exactly.
Uh, because yeah, it just even though it's easy to build now, people don't know how to build useful things still in a simple
Hmm.
way that solves a
Hmm.
problem. So if you can do that really well, you pick a problem, you can solve it really well, build a nice UI UX around it. I mean, there's so much opportunity right now. It just you
Hmm.
have to, yeah, like you don't have to think of technical mode. You just think of solving the problem, and then within that, you will find areas where you can like differentiate. Because people think RAG is easy all the time, right? I can do this in a weekend, but then they start doing
Hmm.
RAG, and they're like, "Fuck, how do I chunk this? How do I
Hmm.
combine all the books? How do I
Hmm.
get the text properly? How do I feed it into the LLM, right? How do I prompt this? How do I use the chat history to,
Hmm.
get better answers, right? Because
Hmm.
there's a lot of little things that can be a mode,
Going.
but like they're not that easy to do, right? And with the UI, like jumping to the exact page, for example, that was like a key feature from day one because nobody had it, where you can jump to the exact page in the book.
Oh.
And I had to do a lot of little things to make sure that works. Uh, so yeah, yeah.
So I think what you're in, I think with rappers, what is important is solving the problem and like having a good consumer experience. But like I'm also thinking about some products, and one of my concern is because sometimes what happens is because I'm building it, I know how the features work. But like
Hmm.
how do I validate it? Is will it be that easy for the user as well? Like when you are in the development process of product.
I think the first customer, whatever you're building, and I really believe this, has to be you, in
Hmm.
my view. I mean, of course, if you're an agency, it's slightly different, right? So if you're building like a SaaS for yourself, meaning like you know, like a SaaS tool product, I think the first customer has to be you. So you're building for
Hmm.
yourself. That's the only way you can know what to build. And then you find others like you, right? Basically, that are also into, and then you modify a little bit according to what others
Hmm.
want. But like the first customer, that makes it easier to build, basically. And
No,
in
I
terms
mean
of,
it in the
yeah, yeah,
I mean it in the sense like when I'm building the product,
hmm,
because I know how the product works, I'm too deep into it.
hmm,
I will know how the user journey will go. But then what happens a lot with a lot of people is they provide it to a user
mm,
and it's not as intuitive for the user. So
yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, that's a problem you and I face. Yeah, I think the only way is to uh, keep getting feedback, sort of, like as you're building. I think build something first, actually, that's working according to you, and then show it to someone, and then don't tell them anything, right? And then just notice their behavior, basically, where they click
hmm.
and where they go, and then basically you'll learn so much from just observing the interaction. Like, don't ask them any questions, just be like, here's a tool, and you will observe the interaction, and you will like know so much from that.
And how do you know that is it good to have a product versus a product that people will be willing to pay for? Because that's a very big question.
You just add a Stripe link, you limit the usage, you add a Stripe link, and see if people use the Stripe link.
That's it.
So yeah, yeah, that's it. It's that simple. Yeah, yeah. If
Hmm.
someone uses it, someone you don't know pays for it, then you have something good. So you
But
have
and
a version that's enough for people to try and get the feel of
premium.
what it does. Premium, basically, initially at least. So then you're getting feedback, and then you just have a like, hey, upgrade for more usage. And if they go through it, that means it's good. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
How should I put it? And like for example, how would someone I just want to go deep in because this got me curious. Like how do I
Hmm.
benchmark? Like for every 100 users I'm getting one paid. Like how do I benchmark my pricing model? Like should do did you do like I did $19, this doesn't work, so I went down to 15. How do you plan your pricing
Yeah, one
models?
sec. Just pause it for 1 second.
Cool. So yeah, pricing
Uh,
models.
yeah, so pricing model, there's no right answer. The number one is don't price too low. Every time I
Hmm.
see like $2 per month, $5 per month, I know this guy is like a first time founder. I mean, I've done it. My reader used to be $5 a month. Even now, I'm probably pricing it too low at $8. Uh, I think it's just
Yeah, so pricing
experimentation.
model again.
So, sorry. Uh, okay, I think. How about now? Yes, no,
Hmm.
no. Uh, sorry. Just pause it. Sorry. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, so pricing model, I think you just have to play around
Yeah.
with it. I think for consumer products, anywhere between $10 to $20 is fair game. Anything more, it's like maybe too much. So, because also ChatGPT is $20, right? Like, unless it's something very specialized, like how Levels did, Photo AI, I think he's charging 30 to more than $30.
Hmm.
Uh, so yeah, you have to play around. I mean, I'll tell you something. So my reader's lowest plan was $5 a month, and then
Oh,
I wasn't making a ton of money.
just buy a
And
$3
sometime in
up.
October, I'm like, you know what? I mean, I'm not like a VC funded company here. I can't just lose money or whatnot, right? I need to like charge more. So I just changed five
For
dollars to
them.
$8 for new users, not the existing, but new users. Uh, and I doubled my revenue in 1 month.
Hmm.
Yeah, because what I noticed,
Hmm.
yeah, is what I noticed was people who pay will pay regardless of, like, as long
Hmm.
as it's reasonable difference, right? If it's not like $30, if it's so
Hmm.
it's between $5 to $15, people who are gonna pay will pay. People who won't pay won't pay. Doesn't matter if it's $5 or $8. So that's what I learned from this experience is like charge as high as you can up to a reasonable extent, and then yeah, and also like have annual plans from day
And I think
one.
for every indie
Annual
hacker,
plans
the
like a
biggest
big
enemy
revenue
are the
maker,
refund
right?
people.
Always have default as annual plans, right? So yeah, and give up like a good discount for annual plans, and then have some kind of initial offer, right? Like, hey, initially 50% off annual or something. All of those work pretty well.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, so I think I do it a little different where I mean, I still get a lot of refund people, but number one is always have terms where you say no refunds. So you're not
Hmm.
obliged to refund anyone, right? So always have it in the terms that, hey, refunds are not allowed. And then
Hmm.
Stripe, it's all legal. I think maybe Europe, you still need to do 15 days, even if you put it in the terms, but still have it in the terms that
Hmm.
your refunds are not allowed. So nobody's can, you're not obliged to do
Hmm.
anything. And then uh, I send them a reminder email 3 days before a renewal. Probably not the best practice
Interesting.
when you are trying to make money, but because of
And
that, I have very less amount of disputes.
hmm.
So not a lot of
And
people
how do you deal
disputed
with
for
the
fraud.
bad reviews? Like
I know
people who
it's very
just
low
like
compared to a
say,
lot
"Ki,
of
hey
other
bro," like
people.
consumers.
so
Because
it's
if
less
I were
headache.
you, I would take it
And
to the
then
heart and I
yeah, so
would
I
be
haven't
thinking
had
that
too
for the week.
many uh, refund requests because of that. So, and then I am usually nice. Like if someone didn't use it for and it's within the 15 days, I refund. So yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
I think you just have to develop a thick skin and forget about them. Uh, I think my
Hmm.
yoga platform taught me a lot, where I had a lot of nightmares.
Hmm.
'Cause I was doing video conferencing, and a lot of times it was not my problem because it was a problem with their Wi-Fi or something, or mic or something. And there's so many variables. So it was a
Hmm.
nightmare to build. In hindsight, very bad decision to build my own video conferencing. And I had a lot of support because people's
Hmm.
businesses were on the line, right? Like they were making income from this, all the instructors. So after that experience, I decided, first of all, I would never do something
Hmm.
where like literally the livelihood depends on it. Like it could be a tool, like
I think
so with the
like
yoga platform, literally the livelihood
I think
depended
it's
on it.
also
So I'm
like
like, fuck.
you'll have 10 good reviews and
So
you'll be like
so
okay,
that's
but
what I
you'll have one
decided.
bad
And
and it
then
will be stuck
angry customer, you
in the
just,
mind.
as long
So
as you
you
know
also
you did
need to
everything
think
right, you're
about
just
key.
like, forget them. Yeah, don't worry about them. I know it annoys you, but yeah, just
Oh, so you have
yeah. There's no
so
good
you
way
have
to do
product
it. It's just
dysphoria.
it
Hmm.
exactly. And you will never be happy with your product. That's also another thing.
Hmm.
No matter how much it grows, no matter where you get. I'm not happy with where my reader's at. Yeah, yeah. I'm not happy with my reader
Yeah.
right now. Even after 2 years, I'm like, there's a lot I want to do more.
Interesting. And let's
So
say
I've just been okay
if
with
I
it. I'm
mean we
like,
talked about
it's
across
okay.
it, but
People find it
again a
useful. They pay
cliched
for
question,
it.
but if someone is listening
Um,
and he's like wanting to
yeah.
be a indie hacker
So
slash whatever
yeah,
that
that's
I don't
also
want to
another
put
thing. You don't
labels,
want to
but
wait
this whole
until you're
journey
like
that you have
really
went
happy
on,
with your product, right?
any
To
top
launch
three
it because
advices for
other
them?
people might still find it useful. So yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Build something you want, not what people want. Forget what people want.
Hmm.
Build something you want that is a strong enough problem for
Hmm.
you that you're like, yeah, I want to solve this, and I'm the best person
Hmm.
to solve this. Like you want to solve it your way,
Hmm. Hmm.
because there's always other people who tried solving or their competitors, whatever. MyReader has thousands of competitors, but I'm just like I want to do this my way. I'm delusional enough that I'm like I'm the best person.
Hmm.
So build something like that, and it has to be a strong pain point for others. But that's a second thing, right? Is if you like really care about something, it's like you are gonna do a good job, right? And you will find people like you
Yeah.
who also find that problem, and you will not give up. So at some point you will hit something, right? Because if you really care about something. So that was number one. And then yeah, eh, and yeah, build something you want, and then I don't know. Don't listen to most advice. Always take it in your context. Everyone has advice. Uh, but again, as long as you don't give up on what you're doing, like just keep learning from your mistakes. Uh,
Oh,
and yeah, don't try to iterate your way to success. I don't think that's a good way. Just again, build something that connects to your heart. Uh, right. And the key is the long-term game, not the initial virality. It took like 9 months for MyReader to be ramen profitable. It took like 7 months to break even, right? And the only reason it succeeded is because I couldn't give up. Not that I didn't want to give up,
Mm,
like I just couldn't give up. It was such a problem. I connected so
good to
deeply
hear.
that I couldn't give up. And now I'm already looking at like
Mm,
most of the competitors are starting to disappear like 2 years later,
yeah.
right? So so yeah, so that's another
Mm-hmm.
advantage. Number three is don't worry about the competition.
Yeah,
Uh,
nice.
as long as you are in it for the long game, I noticed it with the yoga platform. I'm noticing it with MyReader. I'm sure you're seeing a lot of AI
Mm,
companies that you saw 2 years ago that are like either bought out or give up or whatnot, right? So if you're in it for the long game, competition doesn't matter. And do things that slowly compound. Don't try to go for like the fast, get rich quick, like 10K MRR in 1 month. Just do things that slowly keep compounding, like 100 MRR next month, 200, 400, because that's the key to long term. Yeah. And
mm,
in terms of the product,
build. Yeah.
subscription product
Mm,
eh, is the best thing ever. Subscription product and building a tool that people's livelihood are not
awesome, man.
dependent on it. It's like a nice to have, like enriches their life,
Mm,
augments their life. But their
mm,
livelihoods are not depending on it. It's the best way to be a peaceful,
mm.
is to live this life, right? Be in Bali and have shit running on autopilot and not have a lot of stress.
Oh, yeah, that's,
Uh,
and I think
yeah.
B2B take more time
So
to close, like close the client as well, because they're
and
all
B2C
enterprises.
is better in a sense where you don't have to do calls with people, right? B2B you have to do a lot of sales calls.
Yeah.
That's why I like
And
B2C is like I just reply to emails. I don't have to
and
get
I
on
think their
calls with
invoicing
anybody.
cycle is also long,
Yeah.
like 40 days,
You make a
45
little bit
days,
less,
whereas in
you make
B2C
less
you are
money,
like
but
boom,
again,
Stripe
a lot of
payment
peace of
done.
mind. So yeah,
Awesome, man. Cool. Great having you on the pod, man. No,
exactly.
no,
I just can't deal
continue.
with B2B, bro. I just can't. Can't get on calls. Can Yeah,
I'll cut it
no.
out. You can continue.
Yeah, exactly. I
Hmm.
think B2B could be a yeah. So yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So no, no. Try. I think B2B is good after
Hmm.
B2C. No, I would say B2B is good after B2C. So for example, like MyReader, I launched B2C, and then people like lawyers and stuff keep reaching out to
Yep.
me. I want
Awesome.
this, I
Thank you
want
for
that,
those
right?
2 cents, man.
You can do
Cool.
that after that,
Great having you
basically.
here, and
But if
thank
you
you so much
start
for
with
this.
B2B, the
Anyone who
only
wants to
reason you
check
should
out
start
Prashant
is
in my reader,
if you
the
know
link
that
will be in the
field
comments. Drop my bro a
deep
follow.
down on a deep
He's
level,
almost
right?
now
You
at
worked in the
5,000
field,
followers.
whatever you're trying to solve.
4 point something, right?
Only that B2B makes sense. Otherwise,
Let's
it's just a big headache. So,
Yeah. So
my
everyone
two
just drop
cents.
him, drop a follow, get him to 5,000 and 10,000, make him as big, and subscribe to my
Yeah, yeah.
reader. That's the motto.
Cool, man.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Prasann.
Yeah, 5,000. I need to reach 5,000, bro. So, exactly. Exactly. Thanks, man. Thanks. See ya.